Okay, so there's one last organizational concept that I want to put in the back of your brain here. If you remember back to biology, you were at some point told about the levels of biologic organization, and there are a bunch of these, but they follow logically from each lower level. Each successive level follows logically from the previous level, so it's easy to remember this and use it as an organizational tool. There are 8 of these if you don't go beyond the organism level. If you start with atoms and then go up, see if you can remember those. And I have to just submit something so that I can move on in this. So I'm just going to say Marshall was here. Uh, and then I'll submit that and I'm going to move on. But you should see if you can write those out. But now we're going to practice them as well. So our target, you'll be able to list 8 levels of structural organization of a biologic organism and understand that this organization is an example of the principle of emergent properties. Okay, we're going to put a name to this. Understanding how different levels of biologic organization build on earlier levels of organization is key in the understanding of the relationship between biologic structure and function. That's why we're doing this. And then you will correctly list in order the 8 levels of biologic structural organization. You'll be able to give examples of how structure and functional level arises from structures and functions of the lower level or the subordinate level. Okay, so another big picture theme then that will help shape our objectives and organize information is that we can identify discrete levels of biologic organization, and at each of these levels we can figure out properties or features that characterize that level of organization. And understand that each level only comes about as a result of the combination of properties or features at a lower level. Okay, so the idea is that if you add atoms that have limited properties together, you get molecules which have more properties. Then if you add molecules together, you get organelles which have more properties. Then if you add organelles together, you get cells which have more properties, and so on. Okay, so this principle that at each higher level of biologic organization we get new properties or new capabilities is called the principles of emergent properties. At each new level, new properties or capabilities emerge from the combination of lower levels. So if we start at the lowest level of biologic organization that has meaning, which is the atom, we can create the entire scheme of biologic organization simply by asking the question, if I add these things together, what new things that has new properties do I get? So, for example, hydrogen and oxygen are both colorless, odorless gases present in the atmosphere. They have their own unique properties, but they're limited. However, if you add the atoms together, you get the molecule H2O that has all of the life-giving properties that water has. And I'm sure Sperry's told you about all of them. We added 2 atoms that have less significant properties together and got a molecule that has more significant properties. These new properties emerged as a result of the combination of the 2 lesser things. So if I try this, if I just sort of close my eyes and say, if I add atoms to atoms, I'm going to get molecules. Then if I add molecules to molecules, I'm going to get organelles. Then if I add organelles to organelles, I'm going to get cells. If I add cells to cells, I'm going to get tissues. If I add tissues to tissues, I'm going to get an organ. If I add organ to organ, I'm going to get an organ system. And then finally, if I add organ systems together, I'm going to get an organism. Okay, so there's no real memorization to this. You just ask yourself the question, if I start with atoms and add things together as at each new level, what do I get next? It's pretty straightforward. So in this section, this 0-1 section, we defined anatomy. We discussed the concept that anatomy reflects physiology or structure reflects function. You have to know this. We defined physiology. We then provided a framework to begin to organize our thinking about the body's functions and systems based on the goals of our interaction with the environment. We said, I interact with the environment and I want this interaction to be successful. What are the goals that need to happen? And we said, the goals that will accomplish this are, I will acquire energy and biomaterials, I will maintain a stable internal organization, and I will persist as an individual and as a species. Then we said, okay, what functions accomplish those goals? And we said, for acquiring energy and biomaterials, if I digest and metabolize, that's going to accomplish it. For maintaining a stable internal environment, we said, if I maintain my boundaries and I can respond and I can move and I can distribute biomaterials and I can excrete, that will accomplish that goal. And then we said, to accomplish the goal of persisting, I need to grow and develop and I need to reproduce. And then finally, we added systems onto the end of that. If I have the digestive, if digestion is my function, my digestive system accomplishes this. Metabolism is my function. All cells accomplish this. But oh yeah, the respiratory system plays a big role too. So let's add that, and so on. Okay, so this framework should help us a great deal. Then we discussed the concept of homeostasis and homeostatic control mechanisms as a means to help maintain a stable internal environment. And then we discussed the principle of emergent properties as another framework which will help organize our thinking regarding levels of biologic organization. So finally, this is the end of this particular discussion. So hopefully it won't be that difficult to get these videos listened to and these Nearpods done and turn this in so that we can move on and catch up with the class. Okay, so if we want to exit this, we just go and hit exit, and it's going to say, do you want to exit? And we'll say yes. Okay, and that's and oh, by the way, this will take you back to the Nearpod page. You don't need to be there, it doesn't matter, so you can just close that, and that can take you back to your assignments page. Okay, anyway, let's stop this video.